Spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis divides into three processes. The first one is multiplication, the second one is growth phase, third one is maturation phase. In the multiplication phase what happens, in the growth phase what happens, and maturation phase what happens, let us see. Spermatogonia. What are spermatogonia? Matured, already we have discussed in male reproductive system in seminiferous tubules. The seminiferous tubules are lined by two types of cells. One is male germ cells, another one is Sertoli cells. The male germ cells undergo maturation and forms spermatogonia. Spermatogonia are nothing but matured male germ cells. The spermatogonia undergo many mitosis divisions. Here they undergo many mitosis divisions, and after many mitosis divisions they form number of spermatogonia. The spermatogonia undergoes growth phase. And they grow in size, and they form primary spermatocyte. The primary spermatocyte diploid in condition and spermatogonia also diploid in condition. So both diploid conditions I have indicated with yellow color, you can see. So that is primary spermatocyte. So primary spermatocyte is nothing but spermatogonia which is grown and completely grown after completion of growth. The primary spermatocyte undergoes meiosis division. The primary spermatocyte undergoes meiosis 1 and forms two cells called secondary spermatocyte. After completion of first meiosis division, obviously the number of chromosomes will be reduced. So that secondary spermatocyte will form. From each primary spermatocyte, there are only two secondary spermatocytes will form. The secondary spermatocyte is haploid in condition. Here 46 chromosomes are present. But whereas in the secondary spermatocyte, the chromosome number is only 23. Here the important point to be recognized is the primary spermatocyte is diploid in condition and it is having 46 chromosomes. The secondary spermatocyte is in haploid condition. It contains 23 chromosomes. And secondary spermatocyte undergoes meiosis division 2 and forms 4 spermatids. Two secondary spermatocytes undergo meiosis division 2 and forms 4 spermatids. The spermatids number is also haploid and chromosome number in the spermatids also 23. So that all diploid cells have written with yellow color, all the haploid cells have written with blue color, you can see. So secondary spermatocyte 23 chromosomes and haploid, and secondary spermatocyte undergoes meiosis division, completes its meiosis division 2 and forms spermatids, 4 spermatids. Each spermatid contains 23 chromosomes, and spermatids undergoes maturation and forms sperms. So this is spermatogenesis. Totally from here to here this process is considered as spermatocytogenesis. From spermatogonia to spermatids, the formation of spermatids from the spermatogonia is called spermatocytogenesis. Formation of spermatids from spermatogonia is called spermatocytogenesis. And next one is spermiogenesis. What is spermiogenesis? Formation of sperm cells from the spermatid is called spermiogenesis. What is spermiogenesis? Formation of sperm cells from spermatids is called spermiogenesis. And another process is also there, that is called spermiation. As we know that Sertoli cells provide nourishment to sperm cells or male germ cells. Sertoli cells provide nourishment to male germ cells, so that after formation of sperms, the sperm cell head will be embedded inside Sertoli cells. The sperm cell head of the sperm cell will be embedded inside the Sertoli cells. So finally, the sperm cells has to be released. The sperm cell has to be released from Sertoli cell, and finally that has to be comes outside from seminiferous tubules. So this process is called spermiation. What is spermiation? Releasing of sperm cells from seminiferous tubules. Is called spermiation. So this is the entire process of spermatogenesis. Gametogenesis is two types. First one is spermatogenesis. Second one is oogenesis. Already we have seen spermatogenesis. So after the spermatogenesis, the spermatogonia produce sperm cells. Finally, the sperm cell is haploid and it contains two parts majorly. The first part is head and second part is mitochondria, and last part is tail. So the major part is head, and it consists of nucleus. The nucleus of sperm cell contains only the DNA of the male parent. The DNA of male parent is totally present inside nucleus. The nucleus of sperm cell in human beings contains 23 chromosomes. The sperm cell nucleus of human beings contains 23 chromosomes, and the sperm cell head contains a cap-like structure called acrosome. A cap-like structure present on the head of the sperm cell is called acrosome. What is the function of acrosome? The function of acrosome is to produce acrosins. Acrosins are the enzymes that help in fertilization process. Let us discuss this. What is the function? Let us discuss what is the function of these sperm cells acrosome in fertilization topic. Next, the sperm cell head is covered with a plasma membrane, and it consists of some amount of cytoplasm. And the middle piece, if you see, the middle piece contains a large number of mitochondria. The mitochondria help in providing energy for sperm cell. The tail of the sperm cell helps in swimming or movement of the sperm cell in female reproductive tract. During a single ejaculation of coitus, so during the coitus, in a single ejaculation, 200 to 300 millions of sperm cells are released in female reproductive tract. 200 to 300 millions of sperm cells are released in female reproductive tract, and in that at least 60% of the sperm cells should contain normal shape and size, and remaining in that at least 40% should contain normal motility, normal or rapid motility. Then this sperm is useful to fertilize an ovum. About 24 to 48 hours it can survive in a female reproductive system. Generally, after formation of, immediately after releasing of sperm cells, or after ejaculation of the sperm cells, the sperm cell cannot directly fertilize an egg. So that process is called, for the purpose, the sperm has to undergo another process called capacitation. So the capacitation process occurs. After capacitation only the sperm cell can fertilize an ovum. So the capacitation process occurs inside the female reproductive tract, so in which the sperm gets the ability to fertilize an ovum. Oogenesis. The process of formation of ova from the ovary is called oogenesis. So this process completely different from spermatogenesis. In the process of spermatogenesis, the sperms are formed. In the process of oogenesis, the ovum is formed. In the oogenesis, this process is initiated during the time of embryonic development stage. So this process initiated during the embryonic development stage only, whereas the spermatogenesis initiated after the puberty only. But oogenesis initiated during the embryonic development stage. In oogenesis, each ovary contains 2 million oogonia. Each ovary contains a couple of million of oogonia. Totally there are 2 ovaries, so that each ovary contains 2 million oogonia, so totally 4 million oogonia are present. A female, after the birth, no more oogonia will be added to this number. Each ovary contains 2 million oogonia, and that they are formed in embryonic development stage only. After the birth, no more extra oogonia will be added to this number. After the development, these oogonia are called primary oocyte. After the development, these oogonia are called primary oocyte. The primary oocyte undergoes the meiosis. The primary oocyte undergoes the process meiosis, and in the first stage, prophase 1. And in this phase, they got temporarily arrested, and these oogonia remain same. After that, after formation, after puberty, they undergo lateral changes. Primary oocyte undergoes meiosis 1, prophase 1. Later it gets arrested, and after that, the remaining changes of meiosis takes place after puberty. So when primary oocyte contains one layer of granulosa cells around it, then it is called primary follicle. A primary oocyte is surrounded by one layer of granulosa cells, then it is called primary follicle. There are totally 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles only left inside each ovary at the time of puberty. Only 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles will be left in each ovary at the time of puberty. The rest of the primary follicles will be degenerated. This process is called degenerated follicular atresia. Degenerated follicular atresia. Degenerated follicular atresia. The degenerated follicular atresia happens inside the ovary only. See, listen, once again, the primary follicles, 60,000 to 80,000 only left in each ovary at the time of puberty. But how many oogonia were there in the each ovary? 2 millions. 2 millions means 20 lakhs. 20 lakhs oogonia were there in each ovary. But after puberty, what happens? Only primary follicles, 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles only left. Oogonia only converted into primary oocyte. The primary oocyte contains granulosa cells and forms primary follicle. Oogonia develops and participates in meiosis 1 or prophase 1, then it is called primary oocyte. The primary oocyte contains a layer of granulosa cells, then it is called primary follicles. The primary follicles, how many will be left in each ovary at the time of puberty? Only 60,000 to 80,000 will be left in each ovary. Remaining amount of primary follicles will be degenerated. This process is called degenerated follicular atresia. This process takes place inside the ovary, and they will be reabsorbed. Then next, primary follicle. Later primary follicle converts into secondary follicle. The characteristic feature of secondary follicle is each secondary follicle contains this is a primary oocyte. A primary oocyte contains a number of layers of granulosa cells. A number of layers of if primary follicle is surrounded by a number of layers of granulosa cells, then it is called secondary follicle. And this number of layers of granulosa cells, around that another theca is also present. Theca is also present, but it will not be divided into two layers. The theca is only present, then it is called secondary follicle. Secondary follicle is characterized by a number of layers of granulosa cells around the primary oocyte and a theca. This is secondary follicle. Next, secondary follicle is modified into tertiary follicle. The tertiary follicle is characterized by theca externae and theca externae and theca internae. Theca externae and theca internae, two layers of theca. And at the same time, a fluid filled cavity is present. A fluid filled cavity is present inside the tertiary follicle. This is called antrum. A fluid filled cavity present inside the tertiary follicle is called antrum. And next, and in this stage, in the tertiary follicle, what happens? The primary oocyte undergoes meiosis 1 division and it completes. The meiosis 1 is completes in this process, in this place, so that the primary oocyte converts into secondary oocyte and another one more small polar body, right? So then these granulosa cells, many layers of granulosa cells are present here. These granulosa cells are known as these are the connecting granulosa cells to wall of the theca wall and secondary oocyte. So the connecting granulosa cells are known as cumulus oophorus. The connecting granulosa cells. So these connecting granulosa cells are connecting what? Theca and secondary oocyte. So these granulosa cells are called cumulus oophorus, and here the secondary oocyte is surrounded by many layers of granulosa cells. The innermost granulosa cell layer is known as corona radiata. The innermost granulosa cell layer is known as corona radiata. Inside this layer, what is present? Secondary oocyte is present. The secondary oocyte outermost layer is what? What is the secondary? What is the outermost layer of secondary oocyte is zona pellucida. So here there is a clear-cut differentiation. Zona pellucida. A differentiation between zona pellucida and corona radiata is. Corona radiata is the innermost layer of granulosa cells. So these cells are not related to secondary oocytes. They are present outside of the secondary oocyte. So that is corona radiata. And the corona radiata is formed by many cells. But the secondary oocyte is a single cell. It contains a membrane. That membrane is known as zona pellucida. So zona pellucida is quite different from corona radiata. Corona radiata are nothing but protecting cells of granulosa cells. protecting cells of granulosa. So these granulosa cells, innermost layer is known as corona radiata. Innermost layer means which are very closer to zona pellucida. The wall of the tertiary follicle releases hormone estrogen. After ovulation, secondary oocyte is released from the ovary. So ovule is not released from the ovary. The difference between ovule and secondary oocyte is the secondary oocyte still it is not completed meiosis 2. The secondary oocyte is not equal to ovum. Secondary oocyte is different from ovum. Ovum is after completion of two meiosis divisions. So secondary oocyte is completed, so primary oocyte completed only first meiosis division and formed secondary oocyte. Secondary oocyte is not yet completed second meiosis division, so that it cannot be considered as ovum. The secondary oocyte outer layer is called as zona pellucida. So zona pellucida is a layer, that's why it is not made up of any cells, because it is secondary oocyte is a single cell. So that the outermost layer of secondary oocyte is zona pellucida. Outside of the zona pellucida, many cells are there, granulosa cells. These cells are, this innermost layer is known as corona radiata. So corona radiata gives protection to secondary oocyte, and the secondary oocyte is made up of, secondary oocyte consists of one polar body inside, because after first primary oocyte undergoes first meiosis division and two cells produced. So this is unequal division. This is unequal division. Because of this unequal division, what happened? The polar body is formed. So what is the importance of formation of polar bodies? So because of polar body, the ploidy is decreased. The ploidy is decreased. What is the ploidy? Ploidy means number of chromosomes inside the secondary oocyte. The number of chromosomes inside the secondary oocyte is 23 should be there. But at the same time, so primary oocyte contains 46 chromosomes. The primary oocyte contains 46 chromosomes and the secondary oocyte should contain only 23 chromosomes, so that meiosis 1 takes place. After completion of meiosis 1 division, what happens? Polar body is formed. So the primary meiosis 1 division is an unequal division, so that because of this unequal division, maximum amount of cytoplasm is conserved inside maximum amount of cytoplasm is conserved inside secondary oocyte, and a polar body is formed with very less or no cytoplasm and contains 23 chromosomes. And after secondary oocyte undergoes second meiosis division, whether the polar body is divided along with secondary oocyte or not, we are not yet confirmed. And the secondary oocyte contains two layers inside the zona pellucida. One is plasma membrane and second one is perivitellin membrane. The perivitellin membrane surrounding the cytoplasm of secondary oocyte. So secondary oocyte only released during the time of ovulation. So from the ovary, during the time of ovulation, secondary oocyte only released, ovum is not released, because already I told you the difference between ovary and secondary oocyte. The secondary oocyte still meiosis 2 division has to be occur inside. But ovum means it is completed, meiosis completed in that ovum. So meiosis is completed means that is called ovum. If meiosis is still yet to be completed means that is secondary oocyte. So that secondary oocyte only released from ovary, not the ovule. Oogenesis. The process of formation of ovum from oogonia is called oogenesis. Oogenesis, as we have discussed, oogenesis is different from spermatogenesis. Let us see, oogenesis, there are 3 stages oogenesis happens. So first one is multiplication phase, second one is growth phase, third one is maturation phase. In the first phase, what happens? Multiplication, oogonia undergoes multiplication by means of cell division, mitosis, and produces more number of oogonia. Totally, each ovary contains a couple of million of oogonia. And oogonia undergoes mitosis division and produces more number of oogonia, and oogonia undergo growth, and after completion of growth, oogonia are called primary oocyte. The primary oocyte undergoes meiosis 1 division. Primary oocyte undergoes meiosis 1 division in embryonic stage only. In embryonic stage only, primary oocyte undergoes meiosis division and meiosis 1 division, and in the prophase 1, this stage is temporarily get arrested. This stage gets arrested in the prophase 1 only. Later, in the childbirth, there will be no changes happen in this case. You can see here, in the childbirth, there will be nothing will happen in this process. So these are the processes happen in the embryonic stage only, and after remaining process will be started after puberty. So that in the time of childbirth to puberty, there will be no changes occur in oogonia or in oogenesis. So in the oogenesis, the oogonia are converted into primary oocyte, and primary oocyte undergoes meiosis. One division happens in the embryonic stage only. After embryonic stage, in the primary oocyte, in the meiosis 1, in the prophase 1, it gets arrested, and the same process continue till in the arrested phase only. The process continue till puberty. Of childbirth, after childbirth, no more oogonia will be added, no more primary oocyte will be created. So then these primary oocytes will be left in the same phase, arrested phase, and in the prophase 1, so they will be continued at puberty. In the puberty, when they come to 13-14 years age, at that time what will happen? Primary oocyte completes its first meiosis division, and after completion of the first meiotic division, what happens? Secondary oocyte is produced. The secondary oocyte is produced, secondary oocyte is haploid. You can see here again, the haploid structures are in green color, and the diploid structures are given in orange color, you can see. After first meiosis division completion, after completion of first meiosis division in primary oocyte, a secondary oocyte and a polar body is formed. As we have discussed, the polar body has no role, but the polar body is very important to be formed because the number of chromosomes in primary oocyte is 46. The number of chromosomes in secondary oocyte is 23. So from the primary oocyte 46 chromosomes to secondary oocyte 23 chromosomes should form, so that here polar body need to be formed. But why the polar body is very smaller than that of secondary oocyte? Because secondary oocyte, it has to contain lot of cytoplasm. So first polar body does not contain any cytoplasm. This is for the purpose of cytoplasm conservation. Cytoplasm conservation is required. So for that polar body doesn't contain any cytoplasm, the polar body has to take only some number of chromosomes, that's all. Then the secondary oocyte undergoes meiosis division 2, again the polar body will be formed. So this is the second polar body. But in this meiosis 2 division, the first polar body will be divided or not, nobody have the clarity at this time. So then the secondary oocyte undergoes meiosis division 2 and forms oocyte and a secondary polar body. Again same process, the oocyte is containing how many chromosomes? 23 chromosomes, and the oocyte later converted into ovum. So this is that ovum. But this second meiosis division occurs after fertilization. After fertilization, second meiosis division. In the spermatogenesis, if you see, the entire process at a time it happens. But in the case of oogenesis, the primary oocyte, oogonia to primary oocyte formation takes place in embryonic stage. Oogonia to primary oocyte takes place in embryonic stage. But in the childbirth to puberty, there will be no changes happen. But at the puberty, what happens? The first meiosis division completed. First meiosis division started in embryonic stage, but the first meiotic division completed in puberty. The first meiotic division started in embryonic stage, but it will be completed in puberty at the time of 13 years or 14 years age, and in the place of tertiary follicle. In the tertiary follicle, the primary oocyte completes its meiosis 2 division. After meiosis 2 division completion, what will be formed? Secondary oocyte will be formed. The secondary oocyte undergoes, secondary oocyte actually during the time of ovulation, secondary oocyte only will be released from the Graafian follicle. So tertiary follicle converts into matured matured follicle called Graafian follicle. In the Graafian follicle, secondary oocyte is released. Secondary oocyte is released, and in the secondary oocyte, meiosis 2 division completes. Meiosis 2 division completes after fertilization. When the sperm gets fused with secondary oocyte, then only the secondary oocyte performs second meiosis division. After completion of the second meiosis division, from a secondary oocyte, oocyte is formed and second polar body will be formed. The polar body's ploid is also haploid because these two polar bodies are formed after first meiosis division. The polar bodies are formed after first meiosis division, so that the polar body ploid is haploid, and oocyte is also formed after second meiosis division. So oocyte is haploid, and secondary oocyte is formed after meiosis 1, so that secondary oocyte is also haploid, and ovum is also haploid. These are the structures haploid, and these are the structures diploid, you can see. Now let us see the differences between spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Spermatogenesis starts at puberty, whereas oogenesis starts at embryonic stage. Oogenesis starts at embryonic stage. In the embryonic stage only meiosis 1 will be started, but the meiosis 1 division will be completed at the puberty, we know already. Next, second one. So spermatogenesis occurs inside the testis, but whereas oogenesis occurs inside the ovary. Next, spermatogenesis, meiosis 1 and meiosis will be completed at a time. So in the spermatogenesis process, meiosis 1 will be completed, immediately meiosis 2 also will be completed simultaneously. But in the case of oogenesis, meiosis division 1 will be started at embryonic stage and meiosis 1 will be completed at puberty, but meiosis 2 division will be completed after fertilization. For example, in a female, if the fertilization is not over, means in oogenesis process will not be completed. Next, no polar bodies are formed during spermatogenesis process because a sperm mother cell undergoes meiosis division 2 and produces totally 4 meiosis. After 4 meiosis division, there are totally 4 sperm cells are formed. But in the oogenesis, because of formation of polar bodies, so there will be only one ovum will be formed. So no polar bodies are formed in spermatogenesis because totally one sperm mother cell undergoes meiosis division and form a total 4 sperm cells. But in the oogenesis, polar bodies are formed. And in the spermatogenesis, 4 sperms are formed, but in the oogenesis, totally only one ovum is formed, rest of the 2 polar bodies or 3 polar bodies will be formed.